when I moved back to Leeds from the Yorkshire Dales, with loads of stuff happening that next year, I had got a house together, met this landlord bloke, and I was he basically said, look, if you can get enough people to fill it, better let me deal with you. So I had various people living there different times, and I was away at different times quite a bit. I had a van at the time. I got a van, my first van really, and my brother had moved up to Ludwell Farm in Weardale, so I'd go stay up there sometimes. I was seeing a lot of Animal. Animal was from Outcast Motorcycle Club. He really became like a brother to me for a while, and he sadly died in a motorcycle accident in France a few years later. He can't have been. He was probably under 30 when he died as well. But I started doing this, running these courses for people who are long-term unemployed, TOPS courses they were called, and you could do like woodworking or bricklaying or whatever. I did furniture, wood carpentry and joinery. So I did that for 6 months, and during that time I had that shared house with a lot of people coming round and stuff. And after I'd got my City and Guilds, I got a job in this DRM, I think it was called DRM. It was like we're making stuff for Heathrow Airport, shop fittings and stuff, but it was horrible. It was going in and it was dark, and leaving work when it was dark. I did about 2 weeks, and then I thought, fuck this, and I went out for a cigarette and never came back. And went to see my mate Pig, and we went down to Kent in the van, and we were living down in Kent. We broke down on the prop shaft snapped at the South Mim services coming up the motorway, and we waited there for a couple of days to get it fixed and stuff. But we ended up down there working on the fruit farms with loads of gypsies who I got to know, and travellers. And for the next, that was my go-to place whenever things went wrong. I would go stay down there with the travellers. Or I had a caravan down there, a black caravan, which various people use at different times. But that was my sort of go-to place when I ran out of money or ran out of things to do. I could always go down there and get a bit of work on the farms and that, which I did. And back then, working in Kent was different. It's changed Kent now. But then this farm that we used to go to had like Bramley apple trees, big apple trees, nut plats. They were beautiful. Cob nuts. They had hop gardens. We did hop picking, and I'll tell you how it ended with 2 Polish guys came, Bogdan and Wojtek. They were there, and the next year I went, and it was all Polish people. But this was around the time when I was at what was it called, the shipyards dispute with Lech Walesa and the Solidarność movement. But also at the time, my ex-girlfriend had got together with a bloke called Si, and she'd moved up to the Orkney Islands, Shapinsay, which is a little island off Orkney mainland. So to travel up there, I spent 3 months there that year, but 3 not in one stint. It was in 3 separate goes. So the first time I went, I drove up with a couple of friends, and we left the van in Thurso, got the ferry across to Orkney mainland, which took 4 hours at that time, and then you'd go across the island and you'd stay at this hostel, Marbrand's hostel, overnight, and then the next morning you'd get the little ferry, which was about the size of a bus, and it'd take you onto the island. And the island was tiny really, and there was like no police or anything, so nobody used to have any tax on their cars or insurance or anything. And there's only about 250 people there, I think, and they'd only had television for about 5 years, and electricity for about 10, or mains electricity for about 10. And these people who I knew, Si and his mates, had bought this house, Button Bends they call them, which is like, they're like 3 rooms in a row, flat house with 3 rooms. So you got a kitchen area in the middle, so it's your sort of mainstay bit with your Aga in, and your where everyone sits around, and then a bedroom either side. Stayed there for a bit, and it was pretty amazing up there. You know, watch the otters, see otters playing in the rocks, and loads of seals on beaches as you walk round, and you take the 2 dogs up onto the cliff and they go hunting rabbits, and you catch the rabbits, get like 4 rabbits in one session and take them back down, feed the cats and stuff, and feed the dogs, and we'd eat them as well. And fuck off. And it was a good interesting place to be, good interesting place to go. I'm glad I did it. I just started doing, because I've just finished my woodwork course. I was trying to get a bit better at woodwork, and we go picking up bits of wood. There's no trees there in the Orkneys. There's wind, constant wind, and they're very shallow islands. They don't come very far out of the sea, the little ones anyway. There's loads of them, you know, loads of little archipelago, but little bits of driftwood had come in and collect them up, and made a window for one of the buildings there. And I mean, Simon did a lot more work on it. I was only there for a bit. And one of the times we were there, we talked to Andy Lee, who had been to Norway, and we wrote to the farm that he used to work on, or had worked on, in Norway. And this is up past Trondheim. One time when I was back left the Orkneys, back down in Kent again, fruit picking with all the boys and stuff, and loads of convoy type. Well, they were the convoy people, what was called the peace convoy. But some people might remember them from back in the 80s, travellers that caused loads of trouble for the establishment, and eventually got destroyed in the 80s by the police at Nostell Priory, the Beanfield, and Stony Cross, and travellers movement changed completely after that. But that period when I was with the travellers, they were pretty green, quite peaceful, lots of different types of people. Yeah, so I was down in Kent, and went to this pub I'd never been in before, and there was a phone call from the landlord. Said, "Is there anyone in here called Skree from Leeds?" And they said yeah. So I took the call, and it's from Martin, and said, Martin, who I spoke about in the last video, and he said, "Look, you've got to get up to Leeds and get the information, and then you can get on and go up to Norway." So I drove up to Leeds. I found out that the guy who was with Civil now had tried to take my place, even though it was me who wrote the letter, and got the jobs worked out. So I said, "Look, I'm going to get there before you and take the job," because he was going to get his sister to go up. So I got on stayed up all night doing speed, got on give me van to Andy. I said, "Look after me van for me while I'm away." He drove me up to Newcastle. I got onto the ferry from Newcastle to Bergen, which takes a 22-hour crossing. It used to be. Take that, and then when you get to Bergen, get to Oslo by bus or train. I think I went, and then I was thinking, what's the cheapest way to get up to Trondheim? And I got the bus, and I thought it said it gets left at 3 and got there at 6. So I looked on the map, it looked about as far as London. I thought, oh yeah, 3 hours, that's about right. But going through Norway is totally different. It's like fields everywhere. So it was 6 o'clock the next morning that he got there. 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 6 in the morning, and it was a beautiful journey up there, various fields and everything. And I didn't have any money. I've been told that alcohol was, like, you know, rare, expensive over there. So I bought bottles of brandy and that, and I woke up, I fell asleep where I got dropped off from that journey up to Trondheim, and I woke up with a crowd of Norwegian people around me, looking at me to see if I was alright, because I'm a bit of an oddity. You don't really get many tramps there. And I shut myself down and got up and said, "Oh, good morning," and went off into the town trying to find someone to buy me brandy, because I had to get the money to get the last little ferry across, the last little bit, to get to the bit of land from where the farm was that I was to work. So I went through town, eventually looking for tramps, looking for anyone who might buy the alcohol. Eventually found this couple who looked like homeless alkies, and they were really excited at the price I was going to sell it to them for. So I sold them the brandy, got enough money to get across, to get the ferry, last little ferry across. And I walked up 7 miles up to the hills, into the foothills, and got to the farm, and I got there, and the bloke said, "Oh no, there's no job here for you. There's no jobs going." I thought, "Oh fuck!" And he said, "It might be that one." All right, and went up to the next farm, and they said, "Yeah, oh yeah, that's right, come in." So I went in there, and I was there for about a month, I think, and then Sai was there, Sybil was there, and an American guy who I shared the little bedroom with, and picking strawberries eventually. At some point, some money got stolen, and there was it just ruined everything, really, the atmosphere, because everybody had been getting on. This was the first generation of Polish people who got out of Poland. I think they were getting like £4 a week or something then, and we were getting like a good week for us would be, 150, 200 quid was decent week's wages for an English person, and that's what we were getting in Norway, a bit more maybe, I think. And they'd come up in their Skodas. When the first generation out, they're really naive, and they'd not naive, but they'd not seen, the world hadn't been open to them. Really adventurous people, brilliant. And I remember got really good friends with one called Yashu, and I'd try and teach. He was an architecture student. I'd try to teach him. We talked English over vodka, and yeah, we had some good times up in Norway. And then I went, when I finished there, after all the atmosphere had fallen because of the money going, I just sort of hitched back. Not hitching, I was just catching buses and going down slowly, sleeping rough, because it was summertime and it's pretty light, it stays light most of the night. Yeah, sleeping in the woods in various places. Yeah, and that's got to Norway, and I'll talk a bit about Ireland next time. But that was a good little episode. And Wid, yeah, and I'll talk about Wid as well. That needs talking about.